Good morning everyone, DRBMiller here. Hope you guys are well, hope everything is as expected, hope you are doing some of your favourite games. Hopefully you are here with us for Destiny, for our Destiny world and everything that is to follow. As you know, we've come back to Destiny after a short break. We had the Division 1, which was basically dedicated to the new franchise and its sequel that was going to be released last week, and as you know, it's been released to a great acclaim. Loads of great reviews coming in. I've only seen 9 out of 10 and 9.5 out of 10. I mean, some 8, but overall everyone's delighted, and as expected, you know, I tested the beta and we all thought that the actual section of the story missions or the action in the streets was extraordinary. We had lots of different activities, massively enhanced compared to the first one. Everything the community said about the first one has been looked at and improved. So we have lots of different activity. We have encounters, we have strongholds, we have story missions, we have incursions, we have just nasty factions roaming the streets, and then of course, first and foremost, we have that wonderful 4-team membership and gameplay, which actually is the backbone of both of those games. And we've had 1 week of absolutely extraordinary gameplay with several teams, the experience of multiplayer I've ever had. What was extraordinary for myself is the fact that every single gamer who joined the team, and we had quite a few, was absolutely dedicated and focused, and we didn't have a single person in the team who was a non-team player. You know, everyone knew what had to be done, buddy from the word go, assaults, attacks, team effort, missions completed. It was absolutely astonishing. I loved it, and I want a lot more of that. As you know, we'll carry on both with the Division 1 and Division 2 in the future, but at the moment we are polishing off our Destiny 1 that is, and then we migrate to Destiny 2, because Destiny 2 has many more things to do. And of course many tasks and characters still to be completed. In addition to that, I want to say that we are coming closer to Anthem streams. I did receive some messages from BioWare during the last few days. They said that the major patch is going to be launched within the next couple of weeks, and they're hoping that major patch will basically relieve us of wait and see what happens. But I've got actually a few surprises for you in waiting as well, as far as the Anthem streams are concerned. So that is very exciting indeed, and I simply can't wait for that to unravel. And I already had acquired Octane, the new character that Apex were introducing. I have to say, a bit of a frosty response from the community. We have more than 50 million subscribers and gamers so far for Apex, and they were not quite happy with what they've seen. And to be frank with you, I did try Octane. He has this ultimate weapon, his special power, you know, which is like a launch pad. So you can throw that pad, and then you can jump on it, and it's gonna elevate you. The idea is you get on a pad, you start shooting at the enemy from an elevated position, which could be literally, you know, wherever you are. The trouble there is, this is not very fast, and the enemy is extremely fast. Secondly, you really need to have weaponry and the ability to aim very precisely, because you are going to be obviously in motion. I'm in two minds. I tried to use it several times, it didn't really work, and I think as a character he is a lovable rogue. He's very funny and has all sorts of attributes of a, you know, graphic novel walkaway. But let's see how it works. I think the community was unhappy with the fact that they expected a lot more, and you know, like all the other games, you will have one new character and you don't have new weapons and kit and, you know, things to grind. You can purchase some of those evidently through the in-game currency, and I think the season 1 you will have to purchase initially either way, and then as you purchased it you'll be able to earn the in-game currency, and therefore the consecutive seasons will not have to be paid for. But don't quote me on this, that's just my understanding on what was said, and that's the way they explained it. But you know, let's wait and see. Overall, I'd say there's been a bit of a frost. Teams were quite good compared to the other ones, and you know, so really good experience. Looking forward to obviously engage and level up. I want to go to level 100. I'm already 70 something, and I would have been, you know, way over 100, well, around 100, but what happened was I didn't play it every day, so the level 70 was reached in 2 weeks, and you know, we had a bit of a break. Apex is a very kind of compulsive, addictive type of game, high adrenaline, lot of activity, and particularly when you play with certain teams, you really want to make it better next time, so these sessions could become extended. And don't forget, if you're in a team, you know, you have the, well, if you're in a steady team, obviously if you're not doing just random matches, then you will feel bound to certain tasks and targets, so therefore it can be very, very lengthy. So, you know, watch that if you are indeed jumping in, and, you know, make sure that you're not carried away for too long. And quite different to the Division. In fact, the Division does have this space where you know, you feel like you enter different chapters, you do different things. So I much prefer that to the adrenaline of Apex, my own personal preference. My new Twix is here. Hello, how are you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining our community. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching Destiny. Just to let you know that our Destiny gameplay will start very, very shortly, but as always, I'm providing a lengthy introduction to all of our recent activities that include some of the weekly tasks and all the news and novelties in the video game industry. So we're just talking a bit about the Division 2, and also focused on Anthem, our next big scream. Well, it was a scream for some people who had lots of technical problems, but our next big stream here, and also Apex. You know, 3 of those games we focused on during the last period of 4 weeks. And I've had a few members coming in and watching the other streams, and we've had some Destiny veterans joining us as well for the Division 1 and for Apex, which was great to see. I know some of my community members and followers are not that keen on Battle Royale, and I think I know as to why, because Battle Royale is providing us with a unique tactical challenge and requires an enormous amount of flexibility, so you're always facing the unknown, you never know what's going to happen. And some of these games also have somewhat semi-visible glitches, which are based on tick rate and ping rate. Lots of people are not aware of that, but what does happen is that people who are on a very high ping rate and people who are able to access the fastest possible servers are, you know, getting advantage, and they'll be able to kill you with one shot, one kill. They are able to shoot at the walls. It does happen. Although it's not really always visible, but for anyone who played in a team for a while and tested it, you'll be able to see that from match to match, the hit registration ratio sometimes in Battle Royale indeed can vary, and it is a concern, obviously. Manitwix is asking, are you going to stop playing Destiny 1 forever? No, not at all. Absolutely not. This channel is tied to Destiny as its backbone, the main game. And as you know, you have variety streamers and people who are doing different sorts of games. But what's fundamental with streaming is that you will have one or several games that are the foundation stone of your channel. And Destiny is the foundation stone of this channel. So basically what it means is, if we are migrating to Destiny 2, we'll focus more on Destiny 2. There'll be, you know, many more streams, but we are still going to be doing Destiny perhaps in an abbreviated format, maybe a couple of hours a day, or, you know, something like that, or maybe we'll have to see how it goes. I can't actually tell you exactly, but Destiny will have its own weekly tasks, doing some patrols, doing some missions, most importantly doing the Nightfall missions, maybe doing raids. We've not done raids at all, because once we migrate to raids, maybe we are just going to be doing raids for a few months. I don't know, we'll see. But if you're worried about Destiny 1 disappearing from the channel, the answer is no. Destiny 1 is not going to disappear. Destiny 1 will be here forever. You know, it may be in a different shape or form, but it will be present. Coming back to what I said earlier, everyone doing Apex and doing Battle Royale, keep this in mind. I did have quite a few people migrating from PUBG and from Fortnite and also Battlefield. They were on my team for quite a few matches. Some people have become members of our community as well. And particularly during the first couple of weeks, you know, these are the guys that have really properly mapped out strategies in these other games that came to try Apex. And they were extremely frustrated, because they thought the aiming didn't work properly. They thought there were some problems which are causing them not to be neutralizing the enemy as always, and most importantly, they were extremely annoyed with one shot, one kill coming from the enemy. But we discovered in due course what the cause was, and you know, I explained that to them and said it, and they were all sort of pacified to a degree, but still, that was frustrating. And if you are a hardcore gamer, if you are very experienced in, you know, such battle royale games, then you'll be able to spot it. With some of those, you get more of it. With other ones, perhaps less. It all depends on the traffic. It depends on how many servers are involved. It depends on many factors. But do not get too frustrated. Battle royale is all about fun. You know, some win, some lose. So what? You know, move on, do next. And that's basically the principle which you have to apply, similar to what people do when they do trading in finance markets. I don't know whether you heard of this, but it's called SW next, which means some will, some won't, so what, next. That's the idea. But, you know, work on your strategies, work on your tactics, and perhaps, most importantly, build your own team and then have some, you know, enjoyable gameplay. Very different to Destiny, in fact, because obviously, you know, we were talking about a different type of game, and let's not forget we also have Crucible in here. I've not played Crucible very much, but Crucible can feel the same, but it is inherently different because of the kit and the weapons which we have here, and just generally to do with the in-game mechanics. I must say the Battle Royale system in The Division 1 and 2 was very impressive, and there's some really very deadly enemies out there who are also doing the same sort of thing. They don't call it Battle Royale, but it's PvP, and, you know, comes back to the same thing, doesn't it? A team of 3 of some very experienced guys, and again, it was rather difficult. So, you know, plenty of fun to be had out there. So, these are the news. As far as the weekly activities are concerned, we are going to continue with Destiny 1, with Apex and the Division 1 at the moment. Our next big stream is going to be Anthem. It's likely to be on Xbox. We are going to be streaming the Legion of Dawn edition, and indeed we'll have a lot of fun. I'm very happy to say that BioWare have confirmed with me that this new patch, the new update, will hopefully resolve some of those infinite loading screen issues, and therefore we are going to be liberated from the malaise, the plague, which had been obviously preventing us from starting on the first day. It's actually a very good thing. I completed VIP and open demos and tested them because I could see the problems in there, and I thought by the time the game was to come out, these were, you know, to be resolved, but regrettably, as that appears to be the next generation game, perhaps the consoles at the moment which we have are not good enough to process all of that information. I think it is imperative that we just carry on and support the BioWare effort, because as Casey Hudson said yesterday in his major posting on one of the forums, I accessed it through Twitter, he said Anthem is completely different from everything else that BioWare had built so far. It is a next generation game with a world that is constantly evolving. It's just literally the very beginning of what is to follow. It's a bit like reading your graphic novels series. You know, if you were to go back to Superman or Batman when it came out first, it would seem really very strange. The characters look different, and, you know, the world in there is distinctly well, different to the one we experience today, and the one which is presented in the same graphic novels currently published. And you will see how the character, the world, and everything else just evolved, you know, month after month, year after year, decade after decade, century after century. Yeah, funny. I should say that, but that is the fact. And I think the idea with Anthem is exactly the same. So please do enjoyable. Coming back to Anthem, Anthem does have combat, and combat is thoroughly enjoyable.